Hey, so my name's Will, presenting for CUTV. Right now we are north of Cambridge in Waterspeach at Amy's Recycling Centre. Now what we're going to find out today is more about what we throw away every single day. Here at CUTV we got the feeling that most students don't really care about what they throw away. So we wanted to make a little expose about what really goes on when our bins get collected. Right now we're going to meet Mark Shelton, the Waste Education Manager, who's going to show us around the centre. So, Mark, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm Will.
Right,
I'm looking forward to finding out more about this place. How good is Cambridge with respect to the rest of the country at recycling? How good are we?
Compared to the rest of the country, Cambridge is about average. Within Cambridge City, about 44% of the waste that's generated is recycled either through the blue bin or the green bin. Other councils locally, like South Cambridgeshire District and Huntingdonshire District, do more, 56-58%. But nationally, the UK is recycling about 44%.
And how good will we ever be? So if we, in the perfect world where there's no waste at all, is it ever possible for us to live in this perfect world, in your opinion? What's the chances of that?
Okay, there are a number of projects going on called Zero Waste. One of the biggest is in Scotland. The Scottish Government have set up Zero Waste Scotland. The idea is not necessarily that Scotland will produce no waste at all, but there will be no waste that is not usable in one form or another. So, yeah, eventually we should be able to get to a situation where we're not dumping waste. We can find some use for it, even if it's used to generate energy, rather than being thrown in a hole in the ground.
Cool. Okay. Thank you very much, Mark. Well, this is the Education Centre. We're going to have a little kind of tour around, and you can see what's here. But yeah, let's have more of a look around. So it seems that in the UK we are not the best recyclers, but still, I'm curious to find out what a recycling centre actually does. Mark has promised us a tour around the facilities, but first we're going to meet the manager of the Recovery Centre, Matt Gear. So hey Matt, how you doing?
Not bad, yourself?
Good. So can you tell us a little bit about the difference between this role and the recycling centre over there?
Yeah, this one is predominantly for your household curbside collection for mixed dry recycling. The HRC sites are more for the bulky household items.
How much of this recycling do you get, every single day? How much comes from Cambridge?
On average, we would receive around about 300 tonnes a day.
A day?
Yeah. 300
tonnes a day?
Yeah. Which, we would have around about 1,500 tonne a week.
I see.
So,
okay. Yeah. And what would you say to these students who, because we don't think about recycling very much at all, at least I don't. What would you say to me, firstly, but to other students who are watching who don't recycle that much? What would you say to them to convince them to do better?
For me, it's mainly to reduce the amount of natural resource that we're using. There is a lot of products in these materials that we can reuse. There is unfortunately a misconception that people believe that a lot of this material just ends up going to landfill, which is not correct.
I see.
We do recycle pretty much all of the material that comes here, even the lower grade items, which doesn't seem to have much of a market, which has an influence at the moment in the world with oil prices, etc. That's the main thing while we're here.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for meeting us. I look forward to you to giving us a tour later. You're going to give us a tour of the machinery and things like that?
Yeah.
Great. All right. So we'll go do that. The Amy's Waterbeach Materials Recovery Centre opened in 2012. It's a private business with funding from the Cambridgeshire County Council, and it contains a range of these sorting equipments and machines which are able to separate materials including plastics, cardboard, metals and paper. Once separated, different items can then be baled up on site and sent off for recycling. But I'm curious, how exactly does 300 tonnes of mixed recyclables end up in very distinct categories? Luckily, Mark can explain. Alright, so I'm with Mark here at the Recovery Centre, looking out. You can't see it now, but it's just behind us. So Mark, can you explain us a little bit more about what the centre does, and also what's the most impressive thing that you've got here that you can tell us about?
Okay, well this plant takes all of the blue bin waste from the whole of Cambridgeshire. It's dropped off at the far end of the plant, it goes through a bag splitter, then up a conveyor where there's some hand sorting, where people actually pull material out that shouldn't be in the blue bin waste. One of the main potential contaminants we've got is textiles. So please take textiles to charity shops or textile banks. This plant isn't suited for that. There are then a whole range of different machinery, a glass separator, something that pulls out brown cardboard, which is called old corrugated card, another machine that separates out newspapers, colour magazines. Then there's a magnetic separator for ferrous metal like food cans.
And you're explaining some really high tech sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, we've got what are called near infrared separators that separate out different polymers and plastics. Different polymers reflect different wavelengths of near infrared light. So they're called near infrared separators. They shine down a beam of near infrared light on plastics as they're rolling along the conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt's going quite fast, about 30 miles an hour. The different polymers reflect different wavelengths. It's picked up by a receptor, and at the end of the conveyor belt there's about 3,000 air jets, and they will blow the polymers into different directions. So we're able to separate out milk containers, fizzy pop bottles, squash bottles, margarine tubs, yogurt pots, etc.
That's amazing. So apparently, I'm on good authority that the accuracy of these things can be over 90%. So they can, with 90% accuracy, sort out the correct plastic bottles just completely automatically, which is pretty amazing, I thought. So yeah, that's great. Thank you, Mark. That was brilliant. Let's move on. I must admit, I was very intrigued by the sophisticated technologies used to sort out the content of our recycling bins with such great precision. And yet, the efficiency of the system all comes down to whether or not we put the right items in the right bins. I'm meeting with the recycling officer from Cambridge City Council to find out what the council does to make it easier for students like us to recycle. So, right now we're back in the Education Centre. I'm with Rebecca Weymouth-Wood, who is from the Cambridge City Council. So Rebecca, can you tell us a bit about your role and the City Council's role in the ecosystem of recycling here in Cambridge?
So the City Council is responsible for collecting rubbish from around the city, rubbish and recycling from around the city, and that includes all the student accommodation around the city, of which there is lots.
I see. So what sort of problems do you encounter when you get recycling from student accommodation? I imagine it's quite difficult to do that.
Yeah, I mean it is quite an interesting place to collect rubbish from. It's an historic city centre, so there is lots of sort of considerations of where the bins are going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Do people know where the bins are? Can we get our massive trucks down these narrow alleys? That sort of thing. Yeah.
And so what can we do as students who don't know so much about recycling? What can we do to help you?
Yeah, so try and do a little bit of reading on our website maybe about what can go in the bin, sort of arm yourself with a bit of information. Speak to your green officers about what where your recycling bins are, what can go in them.
Do some reading.
Yeah, we've got student information, recycling information on our website as well, so always handy to look at.
Great, okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much for talking to us. Well, I'll do some reading and we can all try and recycle a bit better. The last stop for the recyclables here at the centre is when they are shipped off to get recycled elsewhere. Here, it's paper being loaded onto a truck after being sorted. It also happens to be the last stop of our tour of the facilities. Alright, so this has been Will for CETV. It's been a very fun day of finding more about recycling that's been going on in Cambridge. Thank you so much to Mark, who's been a fantastic host and showed us around. Well, this is the backdrop. This is what happens to your waste when you throw it away and it's been processed. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.